We will have everyone that calls in. Yeah, when I'm... Are you going to work? Yes, you're going to work. There we go. There we go. Put you down. I might... Oh, dear. And if you show any sign of vulnerability on there, then you're dead meat. You're dead meat. I might move this a little bit closer. There we go. Hello, Periscopers. We're live. Right. And breathe. And breathe. How was Groundhog Day?
Pretty good, actually.
Yeah?
It would be so easy to take a movie like that and make it just a cheap musical.
Yeah.
That's what I assumed it would be, even though I knew Tim Minchin did it and so on. It was good. Because
Yeah.
Act 2, they went to places the movie didn't go.
Right.
That was the smart thing to do. They
Yeah,
made it
yeah.
more emotionally deep. Like, they explored all the side characters and made them say, we act as devices in his life, but we're actual real people.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's
We're
cool.
about to go live, Mr. Page.
I love the magic of radio.
There we go. There we go. Harry Nelson. Then that bit kind of goes on for quite a long time, so I thought we'd... this is Iain Lee, this is Talk Radio, 0844 499 1000. We're joined by Stephen Page.
Good evening.
Thanks for coming. And that's all he's going to do tonight.
That's it. I'm saying good evening. I'm sitting here with a guitar, and that's it.
Here's the thing. When... man alive. I have to do the shorthand of who you are for some people who might not know
Sure.
who you are.
The shortest hand is it's been. That's my shorthand.
And I always feel bad about mentioning, kind of the past stuff. You've not
No,
been
but it's my life. Like it's 20 years of my life, 25 years.
You've not been a bare naked lady for a long time, but that's how a lot of people will probably know you and be aware of you. We will talk about them a bit later on. And you're okay if people call in and shout abuse at us and stuff.
That's fine.
Is that okay?
I'm used to it. It's just the same. It's my psyche just coming to life.
0844 499 1000. Oh, we'll go to Russell in a minute, who's we called in yesterday and we want an update from Russell. But you're here on holiday.
Right.
And you've come in, you got in touch and said, oh, can I come on the radio? What, are your family annoying you enough? Or
no, my family are great. I miss them. They're already back at the house. But I've had so many fans for the last 7 years say, like, come to the UK.
Yeah.
And I've wanted to. And I've come on holiday before.
Yeah.
But haven't done any shows in the UK since I left BNL. And I thought, well, I'm here, and I've been talking to you over the last few months. I thought, well, if I can at least come in and say hi to people,
that would be nice.
That'd be nice.
Are you going to come and do some shows proper? And I know you've got a little thing planned for this weekend, but which we all...
well, yeah. I mean, this weekend I was just talking about if I was just to show up in a park somewhere with a guitar. It's not a show. I'm not asking for money. I'm not trying to make an event of it. But I feel bad for people who've been invested in this for a long time, and I like coming here and playing. I thought, let's see if anybody shows up.
Do you know where you're going to do it?
I'm looking at Saturday, probably around 1 p.m. I'm trying to decide which park to show up. Which park am I not going to get busted in?
It's going to be in London, is it?
Yeah.
This is the thing. You can't have more than 3 people gathering before it becomes an event.
Well, the Royal Parks say 40 people.
Okay.
So I was thinking of what was it? Like in Regent Park corner, kind of over west corner, southwest corner there. Something of Regent Park, maybe.
There's a nice bandstand in Regent Park.
I'm not going to do that.
You're not going to go there.
I'm not going to draw attention. It's more like under a tree somewhere.
Okay, man. Yeah, a bit of kumbaya type vibe. Listen, I have brought my guitar in. I have restrung it and everything.
Beautiful.
Do you want to do a song?
Have a request?
Do whatever you fancy. I'm terrible with song names.
Okay.
The one off the new album that I really, really like. Does that help?
I don't know which one that is. What's it about?
Oh God, the Beatles one. The Beatles one.
All right.
The Beatles one.
Jesus and the Beatles. You mean that one with all the Beatles references?
Yeah. I love it.
It's got lots of Jesus stuff too, so it might get kicked off, get you kicked off the air. Jesus came to me last night. to tell me everything will be alright. He said, thank you for rolling the stone, but you're gonna have to go it alone. His halo light up the room. It buzzed and sputtered from white to blue. He said, can't keep the damn thing aglow, even if it's only for show. From hello, goodbye to hell on wheels, sing Hosanna. So that's the deal. It feels like I've been here before. You know what happens when God closes a door? Well, you think mortality's hell. He's boarded up the windows as well. He said, I'm done with raising the dead. I'd rather tour with them instead. But I waited too long for my wish. Jesus Christ, I'd settle for fish. Mother Mary, you had me. No religion, so let it be. Turn your blood back into wine, and then forget you were once divine. And if you can't, then you know it's a lie. Goodbye, my Lord. Goodbye, my Lord. My sweet Lord. I really want to trade this perfect life in the sky to make a mess of things and not know why. Camels, needles, haystacks, and stuff. Come on, don't you think we've all heard enough? We've needed someone like you, self-satisfied but also easily bruised. Hey, have you heard the good news, Steve? We're gonna make you king of the Jews. Hallelujah. Heal thyself. Hare Krishna. Hope that helps. The dream is over. It's I mean mine. Won't be the same now. End of the line. I'm sick of holding your hand. See that single set of prints in the sand? Well, I just assumed that you'd know. You've always had to go it alone. We're on our way home. We're going home. Better believe it.
Dearie me. The fanboy in me has got. I'm going to be honest, Stephen. I've got a tiny little boner going now because of having you that close singing to me. That is from the album "Heal Thyself" Part 1.
You got it.
Is it out? Is it just out digital? I say just. Is it just a digital?
Just out digitally. Right
You're not going to do a physical.
Oh God, I wish.
Why? Why can't you?
Because label stuff. Like, I signed with a label that then got sold to another label, and now there's no distribution outside of Canada physically.
Right.
But I don't even have a vinyl version, which is like, that's what I'd listen to. You gotta have that.
Let's discuss. I've got a tiny record label. I've brought some gifts for you. I run a boutique Monkeys record label. I have gifts for you. Let's talk.
Oh my gosh.
Let's talk.
Well, it sounds like it.
I'm gonna make you rich, boy. I'm gonna get you back on top of the pops.
Fantastic. Let's go back in time to top of the
Let's
pops.
go back in time. 0844 499
Will
1000.
Steps be on it as well? Because Steps were on the time I was on.
the finest of British bands.
They were very snobbish.
Were they?
Yeah, they were really not as friendly as I would have liked.
Well, who else? Do you remember who else was on there when you were?
Is there anybody except for Seps?
No, it really is from the country that brought you the Beatles and the Kinks. We've also given the world Steps, who recently reformed and.
I wouldn't have said that then if I'd known.
Yeah, ka-ching! They cashed in, man.
Good for them.
Good for them.
No, good for them.
We're going to take a call from Russell, who I don't know if Russell's calling in to talk to you or not. But Russell called us last night, and good evening, Russell.
Hi, Ian, how are you?
Now listen, do you mind if I fill Stephen in on a little bit of our conversation yesterday?
Yeah.
Okay. So Russell called in yesterday. And he works at Hospital Radio, and he was a little bit nervous because he's got because of his speech is slightly. Russell, have I got this right? You fell out of a window when you were you fell out of a second floor window when you were 3 years old.
3 years old, that's right.
Flipping heck, man!
Wow.
And you were in a coma for how long?
3 years.
Okay. And Russell's a little bit nervous about his speech and about how some people might perceive it and stuff. And we all got very involved in a conversation with Russell last night. It was a really interesting conversation.
Can I just say that was the greatest song I've ever heard in my life.
Well, hyperbole or not, Russell, that's amazing. Thank you. That means a lot to me.
Are you aware of Stephen Page, Russell? Have you heard of him before, or the Bare Naked Ladies or anything?
No.
Oh man, you're in for a treat. Well, they brought you to tears. You're in for a treat, man. Seriously. If you're just discovering this guy, there is a whole world of tears and joy and bouncing and lying and all this stuff there. So it's great stuff. You did a show today, Russell, at 10 o'clock, and I was thinking of you. How did it go?
It went brilliant. I played a song for you. I gave a big shout out to my man Iain.
There we go, you see. What song did you play for me, Russell, before I get too carried away?
God Only Knows by the Beach Boys.
By the Beach Boys.
About as good as it gets.
It probably is one of the best songs of all time. Thank you, Russell. And we had a lot of people on Twitter and emails and Facebook yesterday as well, sending you a lot of love. You touched a lot of people with what you were, sharing your story yesterday. So thank you
so much. Thank you.
Listen, man, it's an absolute pleasure. You're going to call us again, aren't you? Oh, sorry, I got a bit windy there.
Could I just send a message out to callers?
Yeah.
Or listeners, please?
Yeah, of course you can, man. Go on.
I just want to do this for 30 seconds.
Okay.
No less. I want everyone listening to hold the hand of someone beside them. Just hold their hand and feel the love from that hand holding your hand, and lock that love up in your heart, and now let go. That love will always be with you. That feeling will get rid of any negativity that tries to enter your life. I read that today on a book. I did it with a person, and it helped me.
Did you ask their permission before you took their hand, Russell? I think that's very important. You didn't just grab someone's hand in Tesco or something.
No, in the hospital.
Hey, listen, man, that's beautiful. And,
Thank you.
We were all very moved by your call yesterday. And I just hope that you doing that show today has just kind of shown you. And I don't know if you've seen the comments online, but, I know you get a lot of... Russell gets bullied a lot, and there's a lot of bad stuff going on in his life. But a lot of people love you, man. Yeah? Mm-hmm. All right, Russell. We'll speak soon, man, yeah?
Thank you, Ian.
Hey, it's a pleasure. Take care.
I gotta get some beauty sleep.
Yeah, well, don't get some sleep yet, because I'm gonna persuade Stephen to sing a few more songs, and you're gonna love them.
Okay.
Trust me.
I'm wearing a Christmas pajama.
Oh man, it's too hot for pajamas, Russell. You've got to stop this nonsense. Sleep naked. Come on.
No, I can't.
No, I can't either. It's a deviant's way of life. Hey, Russell, it's so good to hear from you, mate. Thank you very much indeed. 0844 499 1000. Yeah, Russell had me in tears last night. He's never called in before, and he's just...
And he was doing an on-air thing this morning.
Yeah, he was doing a hospital radio show, and he was just...
Does he live in hospital?
No, he lives in Ireland, and he volunteers at this place, and he lives with his mum, and he just gets bullied, bullied, you know, and it was heartbreaking, Steve, and it just kind of hit me there, man. It just kind of hit me there. But this is the beauty of doing this show. Is that people like him can call in, and there's no, he wouldn't get on other shows on this station because people would struggle to understand him. And
right. And so much on American talk radio, if it's like morning zoo type stuff, then it's just another person to make fun of.
Yeah.
Or it becomes just dour.
Yeah.
At the other side, which is not like somebody who has a life with turmoil and stress and they feel isolated.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that they're dour people.
Oh no, exactly. Yeah.
It's just nice to bring out a sense of like their soul. That's great.
And everyone is treated the same on here, Right. And I said to him, look, we was on for about half an hour last night, and it's and it was a struggle to understand some of it, but we got there.
You struggle to understand people's accents sometimes too.
Yeah. Tell me about
I was buying my stepson a bottle of water at McDonald's yesterday, and I had to say bottle of water. And I thought, which part am I saying wrong? Because water sounds right to me, but it's not right. And I'm thinking, if I said water, it would sound wrong to me, so I can't say that to the man.
Yeah.
He couldn't understand me. If I had a really strong accent from somewhere in Asia that maybe that man didn't understand.
Yeah. Years ago when I was in Japan, I was trying to buy a Pizzicato 5 CD, with Japanese bands, and I said Pizzicato 5, and they were like... And I did it in a cold Japanese accent. They went, "Oh yeah," and you took me to it. It's.
I remember when we went to Japan and the stunt was out, and they had Japanese characters on the spine. I said, "So what does that say?" They said, "Oh, it says your band name." I said, "So how do you say that?" Baranekado Radius. That's awesome.
Here we go. Thank you for that, Russell, and I know lots of people are happy that Russell called in and the show went well. 0844 499 1000. I know we got a guest in, but you can call in,
yeah, do your thing. Don't worry about me.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm fine. I'm just here. Hey.
You don't mind if people phone up and, by the nature of this show, we get a lot of weirdos and, sexual deviants and strange people called, and suddenly you're interested.
Yeah, now I'm at home.
We get a lot, but you could, you must have, being a pop star and, as you were a bona fide, genuine pop star for a significant part of your life. And also, being a jobbing singer, songwriter and all the things you've been at the various, you must have met some freaky people, man.
Less than you would think.
Really?
I kept kind of waiting for it because you'd hear the stories from other people in the business. And, I don't know, I think part of it was just our demeanor as a group and our image, first of all, which was as being kind of innocents and nerds and, where we wore shorts and, we just looked ridiculous. And so there wasn't that sense that I think even people in the industry wouldn't be like, I'm going to see if these guys are interested in the thing I'm interested in. But yeah, you'd still meet weird people, but they were just fans. Somebody who'd be standing outside the bus wanting to talk to you.
So there was no Cynthia Plastercaster moments?
No, and it's post-AIDS generation, right?
Yeah.
We missed a lot of that.
You can still get for those who don't know, Cynthia Plastercaster in the 60s and 70s would go and meet the rock stars, and for some reason, I don't know how, probably drugs were involved, would persuade them to let her do plaster casts of their erect penises. Post-age, you could do it with a condom on, I suppose. That would give a healthy message.
I guess so. I wouldn't want to do that. No, I don't need to be in that pantheon because I know where I would be seated.
I imagine that with bands like the Bare Naked Ladies, that they actually attract quite devoted but very friendly fans, very generous fans.
Yeah. We had, we still do. I mean, those guys continued without me, and I do my own thing. But there are fans who would follow the band around for months, much like the Grateful Dead type of thing. Yeah. And they kind of created a culture of their own, which was a hard thing for us to get used to. Because first of all, when you're playing club level, you get to know your diehard fans by name, and then you know them well. Like some of them you become actually friendly with, and at that level, it's very easy to do that because you're kind of just doing a job, and it's not like there's 20,000 people in the audience at that point. There's 500, and one of them happens to like the same books as you, and he brings you VHS tapes of Mystery Science Theater 3000 or something like that. Okay, we'll go for dinner next time I'm in town.
Yeah.
But then, as it gets bigger, we still always try to keep in contact with people, but their culture almost seemed to overshadow their relationship with us.
Yeah.
And once we were able to be okay with that, it was really kind of cool to see that there is this culture of fans who have us in common, but have now developed relationships that are far deeper than they have with us. Even.
And how's it going on? You've been on your own for years now, but you're still getting those same people coming around and, celebrating your music, I'm guessing.
Yes. Fewer, but I'm playing smaller places, but a lot of the diehards, I think early on, people felt like it was like having to choose whether to live with mom or dad. And
carry on talking. I just realised let me put some headphones on the periscopers so they can hear us.
Oh, sorry, periscopers.
They can hear us talking, but they can't hear the call.
The periscopers missed all the best stuff.
There you go.
No, I think early on people felt like they had to choose which one they were going to go with.
Yeah.
And nobody was insisting that happen. I was quite happy for them to see both.
Yeah.
Just every other weekend for me would be fine, and it didn't matter. But people were really emotionally tied, so they had made up their minds about who they liked or didn't like, or who was better now, or who wasn't as good now. And I'm not interested in that because I hope they like what I do.
Yeah.
And I'd be very happy for them to like what the other guys are still doing.
Yeah.
Because I understand the meaningfulness of it. And part of me is like, I remember when the Smiths broke up and the first Morrissey record came out, and I thought, this is terrible. This is terrible. He's no good without Johnny Marr. Listen to them now. 20-odd years later, I'm thinking, what was I thinking? It sounds like Strange Ways. Like, it sounds like the same record
We
almost.
invest so much, though, in our bands.
Right.
And
it's our identity as well.
I'm the only one that... They're writing songs for me. They get me. And then when one leaves, or with any band, or the whole status quo is it shifts slightly. It's people take great... they get very upset and very offended by that. It's the whole Yoko Ono thing with the Beatles.
That's right. Yeah, and it was really, that was the hardest thing for me at that time, was to see some of the vitriol and conjecture and everything else from fans who either felt they knew something that nobody else knew, or they had some insight that really didn't take into account people's actual lives, like the 5 members of Bare Naked Ladies and our families and our worldview and also the impact on us of me leaving them and of me being on my own. Those are both difficult things to overcome. But it's not for them to understand that. It's just when they start to assert stuff that's really hurtful, that sucks. But those days are so gone now.
Yeah.
I mean, I still get it every day on Twitter. I'll get a hey, get back together with the other guys kind of thing. It's like, okay, and crawl back inside your mother's vagina too. Like you can, and I'll go back and remarry my ex-wife, and you can't go back in time, but you can't explain. I'm not going to engage that. What I am going to engage is the fact that it's awesome that some people see the through line and like it and feel like it's still the new music and the through line that I carry, like when I play a show and I play the old stuff, that they see how it's all one thing and it's still valuable to them.
I kind of like it because I like you, I like the band, and now I'm getting kind of double the material coming. I'm getting an album from them every year, every couple of years. Get an album from you every couple of years. Then I'm kind of happy. I'm loving it. We were talking about Twitter. We've spoken about Twitter before. I hate it, but it's essential in this kind of, to sell this. This is a new radio show, and people want to know what I'm up to. And I'm guessing, well, you're really good at not engaging on Twitter. Every now and then you'll be quiet for like a month, and then there'll be like a flurry, and it's obviously I make up that you're bored at home and you've opened your MacBook or something, and then you'll disappear for a couple of.
I'm finally
months.
Sitting on the toilet after a week of not being able to or something. It's longer because sometimes what happens is I'll get into it where I actually really enjoy reading other people's Twitter feeds and stuff and seeing what they're saying and what their conversations are, and sometimes I used to really try and respond and see and have conversations. That kind of has disappeared from Twitter in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And now it's like, well, which famous person do you actually know? Like, you can't just tweet at a journalist whose stuff you read and say, hey, I like this, or here's a funny perspective, and have them tweet something back. It doesn't happen.
Yeah.
For me, at least. It's like, so now if I was to tweet at somebody, like some musician I liked, and I don't know them, I'd feel pathetic.
Yeah,
and it's like
yeah.
that dynamic wasn't there early on, but then I would just get these kinds of attacks, and if I read it, I was in the wrong headspace or feeling particularly anxious or worried about stuff going on either personally or professionally, which is often the same thing.
Yeah.
That's the last thing I want to see or engage in. Like, even like on my phone, for whatever reason, my YouTube stuff alerts come up, and it'll be like new activity on your YouTube channel, and it'll be like, this is the greatest song he's done in 10 years. And I love this song. This lyric is perfect. And a quote from something. And then it's like, this is terrible.
Yeah.
The other guys put out a new record and it was great. And this is awful.
And that's the one that
that's
sticks
the only
with
one
you.
I remember.
Yeah,
the only
of
one.
course.
And I thought, like, I'm so disappointed in myself for feeling that way. So it's better to just not look. But then you have to go on that stuff because you don't want to be so inauthentic that you've just got some person posting purely stuff to sell.
Yeah.
But you have to use that to sell it, because otherwise you get people saying, well, how come I didn't know you didn't have an album out?
Yeah.
I mean, there's still people who don't know I'm not in the Bare Naked Ladies, but that's not totally my problem. But you got to understand that I'm not the center of the universe all the time.
Yeah.
But then you think, if I just sell stuff, if all I'm doing is saying I'm playing at such and such on this date, or I have a record coming out,
people will get bored.
That's right. So then you have to put a joke in.
Yes.
But there's lots of times now that I want to tweet something, and I think, you know what? I think I'll just text that joke to my friend or my wife or whatever.
Yeah, there's a big difference. I've got. How long do you want to stick around for?
Wherever you want.
You say when you want to go, man,
okay.
And we'll get you a cab. You're here as long as you want to stay.
Beautiful.
0844 499 1000. Kyle, stay there. We'll come to you after this.
Greetings, Earthlings.
Yeah.
Peace. We wish to communicate with your leader.
And you're right.
Join me this Sunday night from 10 for a trip into the outer limits.
Twist the lid or drop radio specimen jar.
The Unexplained with Howard Hughes. Sunday night from 10. Earth time. Talk radio.
The wild man of late night radio
Let's get Kyle on.
Iain Lee on Talk Radio.
Hello, Periscopers, by the way. Gonna move you around a little bit. Right, 0844 499 1000. Now, Stephen Page is here. You can phone in, and if you want to be rude and phone in and ignore him and talk about the usual rubbish we talk about.
Oh, I don't. I'm an observer.
Yeah.
But if you want to talk to me, great.
Yeah, fine. Exactly. If you want to, maybe you want to phone up and have a word with him or sing to him. I don't know. I'm really hoping we have a regular caller called Nigel from Maidstone.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't rely on him to call in. Nigel really is. He's a songwriter. Mm-hmm. Who's also obsessed with Miley Cyrus and Lindsay Lohan, as he calls her.
Okay.
And he writes love songs to those women, and they really are very, very. There's a lot of emotion.
So they're tender.
Something's tender.
Right.
He's saying, yes. We got Kyle on the line. Evening, Kyle.
Evening, Ian, you okay?
I'm all right, Kyle. What you got for us, boss?
Well, there's a couple of things. One was to tell you about something, and one was to ask Stephen a question, if that was okay.
Yeah, of course.
So the thing for you is, I was going through my book collection, I bought it ages ago, was a book called, I think it's like a complete history of the Let It Be sessions.
Oh, I've got it.
The Doug Sulphey one.
Is it the one where it just it's really geeky, this book. It just lists, right, on January the 23rd, they did a 30-second take of Get Back, followed by 1 minute 22 of Good Golly Miss Molly. Is it that one?
That's the one, yeah.
And it's specific to Let It Be.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Why don't I have this? This is the stuff I live for.
Man, this book is so geeky. It's just lists, and they've got the whole Let It Be sessions tapes, and this guy just jots down everything that happened. At 12:30, they came back from lunch, and Ringo had a sore finger.
Is it the kind of thing I can actually buy in a shop, or do I have to find it on the dark web?
What's it called?
Is it Sex, Drugs and a Slipping Image or something like that?
Oh, that's not
Doug Sulphey, I think.
That's not the one that I know. Sex, Drugs and what?
A Slipping Image, but that could be the name of a bootleg I've got.
Yeah, Doug Selfie.
Sulphy.
Yep.
Phy.
Phy. Let's have a little look. That song, that first song you played, is Get Back. The Beatles' Let It Be Disaster. You can get it for £2.84 on Amazon.
Beautiful.
You got to get it.
All right.
You're a Beatles nut, aren't you?
Virtually every line from every chorus of that last song was lifted from a different Beatles song.
I was so pleased as I was listening to that for the very first time. And I suddenly, I see what he's doing. I shall relish this even more. A lovely Helen Wheels reference as well, which is a nice little solo thing. What did you want to ask Stephen, Carl?
Well, I was going to say, I didn't know, apologies, Stephen, I didn't realise you were from Canada and not America, and I've got friends in Whitby, Ontario. I know Whitby well. Yeah.
Do you know his friends, Stephen? Can you pass a message to them, please?
I do. I'm sure I know their friends.
Well, I was going to say, Stephen, I'm quite ashamed to say that I only know one sort of Bare Naked Ladies song, which is the one that was in American Pie, maybe 1 week.
That's 1 week. Yep, that was the biggest hit. So you're forgiven.
I was wondering, what would you recommend, an album or a single, to sort of get into more of the back catalogue?
Well, I mean, there's a greatest hits record, which is pretty. I mean, that's a good survey. But for me, I don't know, the record I always say that I like the best is probably Maroon. But I like the one after that too, Everything to Everyone.
Now, isn't that funny? Because I was gonna say that Everything to Everyone is the one that I would recommend later down the list as an entree level. The thing is,
I think you're right.
They're all good albums. I know you guys don't like, or you don't like the second.
I love it.
Really?
It was the one the other guys didn't like as much.
Oh, okay. Because I think that's a joy.
It was hard to make because, well, A, it's the second record, and B, I think the changes we wanted to make were different from, like, everybody had different goals.
Yeah.
It was the height of grunge, so I wanted to bring electric guitars in because we'd never had, and there were no electric guitars allowed in our band.
Yeah, of course.
So we had that kind of struggle, and then Andy Cregan, who was our keyboard player at the time, brilliant musician, but he was really, I think, struggling to find his place in the group at that point. And we worked with the producer, Ben Mink, who was an excellent producer, but he was used to working with solo artists. He'd done Katie Lang's huge Ingenue record, which we all loved. But so he focused a lot on me, and the record is very much kind of vocal up front and the band in the back. And I think that was hard for them. So it was hard because of that. It was hard to feel unified over it. So we unified kind of almost against it in a way.
Also, is that's the one, if I got this right, that's got Everything Old Is New Again, which is one of the saddest songs in the world.
It's one of my favourites.
Oh, man, it just makes me cry. Kyle, listen, send me an email. I'll tell you what stuff you need to get. Can we have another song?
Sure.
Can I invite Catherine in? Because Catherine's a big fan.
Yeah, of course.
And I want... Look! Fangirl! Come in, Catherine, come in. Is there anything you want to play, or can I request anything? Can I request anything?
Yeah.
Go Your Own Way by Fleetwood Mac. Do you know that?
Loving you isn't the right thing to do. How can I don't know the rest.
In that case, then, when Catherine comes in, come and sit in, Catherine, and enjoy, because you will have a big, stupid grin on your face like I've got. All right, Shoebox.
Sure.
Is that okay?
It's fine. I'll admit that it's been a very long time since I played this, so I will most likely stop and start.
If you don't mind that, I don't mind you stopping and starting.
I like the challenge.
Okay, fine. Away you go.
A key in the door, a step on the floor. Note on the table and a meal in the micro. Cause I'm in bed, please make sure that you're fed. If you're taking a shower, you can borrow my bathrobe. When I'm asleep, let me see this. I don't know what that one. Okay, I'll fake it now. 2, 3, 4. And in the door, step. A key in the door, a step on the floor. A note on the table and a meal in the micro. It says I'm in bed, please make sure that you're fed. If you're taking a shower, you can borrow my bathrobe. And when I'm asleep, I'll give me moving next week. Send from the note and save the food inside my shoebox. The shoebox of life. go to the second verse. I can't remember the words now. Not 17 and doesn't know what you mean. The doctor's just single moms are stilted on my shoebox. Shoebox of lies. My shoebox. The shoebox of lies. It's so 1990 and it's 1994. Leave this well behind me 'cause you don't want me anymore. Okay, now it's the last verse, and I can't remember the words, so loving you isn't the right thing to do. How can I? Something else I Did somebody tell you this is how it's supposed to be? Leave this world behind you 'cause you don't want any more from me. Oh, lie, oh, lie,
The same. Oh, isn't that wonderful, huh? Isn't it?
I've got a massive grin on my face.
I knew it was going to go like that. I knew it was going to be a disaster.
I didn't notice anything.
I just forgot the words and the chords.
Wait,
the notes.
No one saw that. No one heard that.
Pro, you see, just carried on.
Absolute professional. Let's have a quick break.
I like to entertain.
Oh, thank you, man.
We are Talk Radio.
Oh, thank you.
I love doing that.
Oh,
nobody else knows.
No.
Yeah, they're expectations.
Yeah.
Or you think you're not taking it seriously, or you don't care.
I love it.
For me, it's like
Listen to Paul Ross with Metro and get an essential daily fix of news, sport, showbiz, entertaining.
Oh, I love it.
If I fall off stage and then you pull it out, then fall down again.
I'm surprised you can remember anything. You know,
grab your free copy every weekday morning.
Yeah, I don't know when.
Crown, please, mate.
Food later?
Depends on this bet.
Thank you.
I've got
Very
11 to
kind.
1 on us to
You've
score in the
made
next
me very,
minute.
very happy.
If we do, we're
My
quitting and
boys
it's a
who
fancy dinner at Giovanni's.
they're away at
If not, the usual curry.
So,
Come on,
so
lads.
Bet fast with 10 bets, 1 and 5 minute fast markets.
Get in. Lovely. Giovanni's it is then.
Kick off with a first deposit bonus of up to £200 at 10bet.co.uk. That's 10bet.co.uk.
Oh, I've got fanboy. I've got one.
Minimum deposit £15. Please gamble
I've
responsibly.
got CD for me, CD for my boys. Are you aware of a singer called Yamani Cooper?
At Selco Builders Warehouse, we've got some real deals on a wide range of trades quality building products. In August, we've got a real deal on an 8-foot by 4-foot sheet of 18mm sheathing ply for only £14.95 ex-VAT. Now that's a real deal. We've got even more real deals and thousands of products in stock at selcobw.com.
Oh.
We got it at Selco.
She's from New York.
Paul Ross Full Set Breakfast. Tomorrow morning from 6 on Talk Radio. And have you got a pen or pencil and a piece of paper? I'm going to give you the recipe for a perfect Paul Ross Full Set Breakfast. Bullshit politics, a cup full of current affairs, and a coaster sugar bowl full of showbiz. All that amusing news, and we are spoiling you each and every breakfast. There's a mouthful. Paul Ross is the breakfast boss. It's on your mind, get it on the radio.
Total Talk, essential listening.
The Paul Ross Full Set Breakfast. Good morning, madam. Tomorrow morning from 6 on Talk Radio. We'll get you talking.
The radio show that people know the best part of the day is the night.
Late night Iain Lee on Talk Radio. We have ways of making you talk.
Stephen Page is here. If you want to call in, you're more than welcome to. 0844 499 1000. What are you listening to at the moment? What gets you going?
Oh man, as an old guy, it's weird because I still feel like there's a lot of artists that I love that I still haven't digested or understood everything they did.
Yeah.
And my appetite for new music or new artists comes and goes. My wife is 10 years younger than me. And when I first met her, like 10 years ago, that was one of the most amazing things was she's a passionate music fan, but she's got her group of 10 artists that she knows everything about and knows every note of their music. But it turned me back on to like finding new artists, and that like buoyed me for quite some time. But now I've got all those artist records to go. So for instance, like one band, American band that I really love is a band called Ockerville River. A guy named Will Sheff.
Right.
Really, really great songs. He really understands what it is to be a music fan as well. So he writes a lot either from the fan's perspective or from the band's perspective, talking to the fan about what music means. And it's heavy actually. It's quite beautiful. My guys are, I'll still listen to any Beatles configuration. I can't help it. I love Nilsson as well, and
I'm just discovering Nilsson. We had a little email exchange where Nilsson was mentioned. I bought the box set,
right,
and I knew the hits. It's that thing where you've heard the hits. Everybody's talking, and without you, those things where you've heard them so many times they become meaningless,
right?
And I'm rediscovering them with new ears. And those two songs are flipping amazing. But man alive, I'm working through the album slowly. I've done the first 5. I think I'm just up to Nilsson Schmilsson. Those first few albums hit the voice of an angel,
right?
Man, and really sparse arrangements.
And the first thing, when I got into him, which would have been about 93, we had an opening act in Canada. Bobby Wiseman was on the tour with us, and he was on our bus, and he said, "Have you ever heard?" He said, "Do you like Randy Newman?" I said, "I do." I didn't know a lot of him, but I was kind of just in that phase where I was trying to discover stuff. And he said, "What you have to hear is Nilsson Sings Newman." So he played me the album Nilsson Sings Newman. And do you know that one?
Yeah, I've just done that one last weekend,
It's still, to me, if it's the right time, it's the greatest album ever made.
Oh, man.
It's the greatest songwriter and the greatest singer together in this creative, it feels very tossed off kind of environment, but it's so beautiful and sad and angry and funny and simple. It's just piano and vocal.
Yeah.
And that got me into it. So then I went to try and get some Nilsson records, and the only thing that was available was Nilsson Schmilsson. So we'd come over here to the UK, and stuff was available. There were compilations that were available. There were things like, there was the two different albums that then he remixed into one album.
The Aerial Ballet and Pandemonium.
And then the Aerial Chandelier.
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
Like, all that stuff was just kind of blew my mind.
Yeah.
And then I know, as a Monkees fan, then you think about, like, the connection there.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, it all starts to make sense.
Yeah.
And then from there, you can go down the rabbit hole and find, like, okay, anything done by Lenny Waronker between 1968 and 1975. And all of a sudden, you've got Lowell George, and you've got Van Dyke Parks, and you've got even Harper's Bazaar. And all those things. That's kind of my place.
Yeah.
It's either that, like, if I could live in a fantasy world, it'd be like those guys, or it'd be the Beatles solo albums between 70 and 74.
Yeah.
Like
But you talk about, and I've got to do Harry Nilsson, the mixtape, because it is, particularly those early stuff, when his voice, before he ruined it with brandy and cocaine, and ripped his voice it's the voice of a child singing, just a heavenly child.
And it can be, sometimes if you're not in the right mood and you don't know what it is, you can walk in the room if it's playing, and you're going, what is that? Can you turn it off? Because it's like, it's so happy with itself sometimes, but the acrobatics are great and the jokes are great, and everybody loved him. Everybody loved to be around him, and you can feel it from the music.
Your voice is still, how long have you been doing this? Because your voice is still amazing.
Thank you.
I'm going to blow a little bit of smoke up your ass.
Keep going.
I know what you pop stars are like. This is what you thrive on. But your voice is still incredible, as good as when you were a boy.
In a certain way, I'll hear stuff. I don't like to listen to myself.
Yeah, of course.
And the older I get, the more like I don't look at YouTube videos. I'm happy they're out there, that people film them. I do not want to look at it, but I want it to be out there. I can't look at myself or hear myself, really, except for if I'm making the record, because then I'm in control.
Yeah.
But I heard an old Bare Naked Ladies song, Break Your Heart, which is a big kind of barnstorming Percy Sledge kind of thing. And, I heard it like a fairly recent version. I thought, that's actually better than when I used to do it. Like, it's actually more, the voice is bigger, and I know how to phrase it better now. And that's because of years of playing it with the band, and then after that, forcing myself to do this stuff on my own.
Yeah.
But voice is more fragile now. Sometimes I get really uptight about it, thinking, is this it? Is this when it's all over? Because I'm terrified of the day that it's gone.
Because it happens to some people. Some people's voice. I mean, McCartney's voice is still amazing.
It's just starting to go, but he's 74.
Yeah, he's lost a little bit of the higher and a little bit of the lower, but it's still incredible. Yeah. Paul Stanley's voice from Kiss, unfortunately, has... I don't know if you've seen any videos of Paul Stanley recently. That's a shame.
That's too bad.
It was too much of his shouting at concerts for people.
But you keep on shouting.
Yeah. You're going to rip it to shreds.
Yeah, I want to rock and roll all night.
What are the chances? Party every day, which is
not
the most
sustainable lifestyle, is it?
Not a sustainable lifestyle.
When I was a kid, I didn't understand him because he was the love guy, and it was like, ew.
Yeah.
That's, ew. Who wants the love guy?
I want the space guy.
That's for girls. Yeah, I want the space guy.
Or the monster. Or the cat.
Right. And now they're almost going to have the monster for president of the United States. Like, Gene Simmons is Donald Trump, right? The same guy?
Yeah. Gene Simmons plus Mike Love equals Donald.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to levitate him. I'm just going to levitate him. That's the way it is. It's sad. It's sad when they don't levitate him.
Here we go. What are the chances of this? We've got a second Kyle on the line. Good evening, Kyle number 2.
Hello.
It is a different Kyle. Go, Kyle. What have you got for us?
Yeah, I'm Kyle from Surbiton.
That's fantastic. Well, we'll all pop round after the show. Now we know where you live.
Can we just call you other Kyle?
Why not?
What do you want to say, Kyle?
I'm a half Cockney, half Canadian, and my uncle's a massive fan, and I'd like to hear if I had $1 million.
He's coming with. Hang on a second. He's
straight in with a
under
request.
the radar, and he's coming with requests.
Yeah, why not?
well, the $1 million song.
It is kind of the one I don't do.
No, I know.
I did it once recently for the first time since I left the band.
It felt dirty.
It didn't at that show because it was like the power had gone out.
Yeah.
So I was about to lose the whole audience, and they were scared. It was an outdoor show, so I thought this way it'll focus everybody and they can sing along.
Yeah.
And it felt good because it was a sing along, and I brought a fan from the audience who'd been a fan forever to come and play and sing Ed's part, and that felt fun.
Yeah.
I felt some ownership, but otherwise, it's a duet. That's the weird thing. It's a duet, and I feel like it's kind of sacred.
No, and I respect that, and also I respect the fact that you don't mind doing Bare Naked Lady songs, because there are some artists who, when they go solo, no, I don't do those anymore.
I understand why that is, because you want to separate yourself.
Yeah,
God, you wrote the songs and you played them, and like, who better to sing them?
Can I, Kyle? I'm going to get you out of this. Don't you worry. Can we have alcohol? Hang on a minute, Carl. I'm going to get you a good one.
Only thing is, here, I think I can do it.
Do you mind? And then we'll have one from the new album as well, if that's okay.
Sure.
No,
Yeah, no, I don't mind that. It's just that it's high. I play it high up on the guitar, so I want to make sure I can actually reach. For
okay.
Yeah, you want to do it?
Yeah, go on.
Alcohol, my permanent accessory. Alcohol, a party time necessity. Alcohol, alternative to feel like yourself. Oh, alcohol, I still drink to your health. I love you more than I did the week before. I discovered alcohol. Forget the cafe latte, screw the raspberry iced tea. A Malibu and Coke for you
and a G&T for me. Alcohol, your songs resolve like my life never will. When someone else is picking up the bill. I love you more than I did the week before I discovered alcohol. Would you please ignore that you found me on the floor, trying on your camisole? Oh, alcohol, would you please forgive me? Why can't I love myself? I'll use something else. I thought that alcohol was just for those with nothing left to do. I thought that drinking just to get drunk was a waste of precious booze. But now I know that there's a time and there's a place where I can choose to walk the fine line between self-control and self-abuse. Now I'm in the right range. I usually play this 2 frets higher. So I keep hitting the wrong fret. I love you more than I did the week before I discovered alcohol. And would you please ignore that you found me on the floor, trying on your camisole? Oh, alcohol, would you please forgive me? For while I can't love myself, I'll use something else. Oh, would you please forgive me? Oh, would you please forgive me? Forgive me, yeah, yeah. Oh, would you please forgive me?
What are you talking about? This is just awesome. We're gonna have a quick call because we've got a call all the way from San Diego, which I believe, Stacey, that San Diego's in the United States of America. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Fantastic. 5 points
home of the
me.
Whopper.
Is it? Stacey, I'm guessing you want to talk to Stephen. What do you want to say?
Well, I was just going to ask him, now that he's a little bit older, does he prefer the small venue where he can be close to his fans, or does he still crave, like, the festival-type setting?
I've always liked both, but I think now that I play a lot of smaller venues, I crave the festival. I mean, I'd be lying if I didn't say, like, it's awesome.
Yeah.
But, because I think with Bare Naked Ladies, what we were actually really good at was playing a large venue, like, whatever, doing Glastonbury in the afternoon or something like that, and feeling like you're actually reaching the people at the back.
Yeah.
People who weren't there to be tuned in, and you get them all of a sudden part of your group and part of this group experience you're doing. It feels like it's an amazing triumph. But to win over, like, I'm more nervous playing in front of you two here in the studio than I am in a live venue. A few years ago, I would have done this, but it would have been very hard.
Yeah.
And if I was at somebody's house and they said, "Oh, I got a guitar, you want to sing a song?" I would be too nervous to do it. Where going up on stage in a sports arena would have been fine. Doing the solo thing, and I do have other musicians I play with, but under my own name over the last bunch of years has given me I had no choice. I had to learn to do it. And it's made it way more fun for me to play the smaller now.
Stephen, we're coming up to the top of the hour. Can I persuade you to stay for one more song afterwards? Because I'd love to hear Surprise, Surprise. I mean, you go whenever you want. You can stay for as long as you want. We're here till 1 o'clock. But I'd love to hear surprise.
It's
from
a deal.
you. Would that be okay?
Absolutely.
And I want to ask you a few more questions.
Yep.
Stacey, thank you so much. 0844 499 1000 is the telephone number. You can watch us as well, dear listener, via the magic of the Periscope and my phone that's up in the corner. If you go to periscope.tv /Iain Lee. Should we give you? I know you don't like Twitter, but do you want to give out your Twitter?
Oh, please.
It'll be useful for this thing on Saturday.
Because I will know for sure tomorrow where Saturday's meetup will be. So check it. It's Stephen Page, STEVENPAGE.
And let me know, and we'll plug it on the show, and we'll make sure people turn up.
Great.
And bring food and blankets and bring some good vibes, guys.
Bring good vibes.
Bring some good vibes. 0844 499 1000.
Talk Radio. We've got entertainment, and we're not afraid to use it. Talk Radio.
Thank you. Fun for me.
Oh, I'm loving it. I'm loving it. I'm sorry I'm being a bit of a fanboy, but
That's great.
Relax. Enjoy peace of mind for payments that won't change for at least 2 years. With a fixed rate
Anyway,
mortgage from your
can
local
I,
post office. Apply today.
It's very hot in here. The air conditioning is utter shit. Can I?
Post office money.
Should we do the boring? Can I get you signed two things? That'd be all right. One for me and one for my boy.
Post office money mortgages are provided by Bank of Ireland UK. Your home may be repossessed if you do not keep up repayments on your mortgage.
It's a beautiful thing
Have you got a Sharpie?
when little things come
Could you do that
together.
one for me, boss?
Life is in the
Yes, may God bless you.
The
I'm just
new
gonna pause
Volvo
this.
V40 Talk Radio.
I persuaded him to stay for another song. And you're more than welcome to call in as well. 0844 499 1000. You can follow us on Periscope, periscope.tv /Iain Lee. We'll put this out as a podcast as well, and, we'll put the video up on YouTube. So don't worry, guys. If you're trying to find a blank tape at home to record this, fret no more. This is Talk Radio. This is 11 o'clock.
From the Scotney Centre at 11, a man is
Yeah,
starting
it
a
takes up
minimum
a bit more
27-year
bandwidth,
jail
and
sentence.
the Wi-Fi here is
Well, the
rubbish,
judge has described
so
as a
it
brutal,
doesn't really work,
barbaric,
which is why we left
horrific
it in the
crime.
Periscope.
Tanvir
Can I give you some
Ahmed
bits and
Stone
pieces?
Assad Shah
Because I've got this
announced
geeky,
that
this, I run this geeky record label.
So what are the records amongst these things that you put out? Are they
In court,
rarities?
he
Are
shouted
they
in
things that were
Arabic,
former
and supporters,
bootlegs?
including this man, responded.
This is a Nicky Donuts. This is all his solo singles from the 70s.
Awesome.
And we just licensed them.
Muhammad is our prophet,
And
he's the
then
only
this
one.
is we've got into
Sky
record a
sources
song
say the
with
Prime Minister
Nesmith's
Theresa
son
May
and-
will meet President Putin during the G20 summit of world leaders in
kinda
China
license it. We
at
do
the
it
start
all,
of
you know,
September.
it's all legit
Relations
stuff.
between the two countries soured after
Here's
the
a Marley
Vatican
Coppola.
affair.
Oh,
Senior
cool.
political
You
correspondent
might like. You might have. I
Reid
think
says
she's
there
an
are other
absolute
issues which need to
proper
be
genius.
resolved
She's
too.
been around for
So
ages,
what happened
and
between Mr. Putin and Mrs. May's
trying to work out how to
predecessor?
get over here.
Put 200 jobs at risk. 84% of RMT union members who voted backing the action.
Oh, here we go.
It's been
Come
another
on.
mixed evening at the Rio Olympics for Team GB. Medal hope David
It's just
Lawrence
GCD,
placed
isn't it? One of those configurations.
Tonya Couch and Lois Toulson ended fifth in the synchronised diving, and the British women missed out in the team gymnastics. More positively, Johanna Conta reached the quarterfinals of the Listen, that's the latest.
This is what you've been lacking. This is what you've been going wrong.
Late night, Iain Lee. Talk Radio.
Oh, it's the new
Oh, we
shore.
go. You can carry on doing that. We just
The new shore from the last record. That's got the same thing. And it's also sugar. Bum bum
bum bum. Honey, honey. You are my candy girl, and you got me wanting you. You're right. There is a lot of that all over your. Remember Boyce and Hart? Look, you see, there is a lot of that on the new record. The new record is really interesting because it's got loads of different stuff on it. There's that gorgeous song that we played, I Can See My House From Here, which has got loads of Beatles jokes. And when I say jokes, I don't mean it in a derogatory way.
I don't take them that way.
A lot of your songs have gags in there,
Sure.
and some are very subtle and some are very broad, and they're all wonderful to hear. There's a lot of 80s kind of sounds on the album as well.
Yeah, I mean that's it's where I'm from.
Yeah,
it's where I grew up, and it's kind of part of a longer story. That's what part 2 will also be. So it's part 1 and 2 together. So there's a bit of a sense of like where musical roots start.
Yeah,
and I do love the 80s stuff. I like the fact that young kids are discovering it and doing it wrong, because that's the best way to make art, right?
Yeah.
Is to do it wrong. Try it, and that's when you start writing songs and you don't know how to do it. and you don't know what the so-called rules are, that's when you write really cool, weird stuff. And seems like I think when someone hears something, you see these younger bands saying, "Oh, this is '80s, like it's like Fleetwood Mac or something." It's like, doesn't sound anything like it. That sounds like The Outfield or something like stuff I didn't like. It sounds like something I didn't like, kind of Starship or something. But the fact that they're making music that sounds like Starship or Huey Lewis or whatever is funny to me.
What were you listening to as a kid?
My obsessions as a kid were, well, Stephen Duffy, who's my best friend, basically, and I've written lots of stuff with, and I wrote to him as a 15-year-old. I bought The Ups and Downs, his first album, the album with Kiss Me on it.
Yeah.
I bought it because I was coming to England for I was 15. I'm still embarrassed. It was a choir tour. I was touring.
Oh, that's beautiful.
I know, it is awesome now, especially since I have teenage kids. It's like, oh, this was so great. So we walked past Westminster Abbey yesterday, and I'm like, I sang there when I was 15.
Wow.
And we toured all over the UK. And
I've got a bootleg recording of it somewhere.
I think I do. I think my parents do. But I wrote to him after that, just saying, like, because I bought this tape to listen to my Walkman for the trip.
Yeah.
And so it became the soundtrack to my life that summer. It was that and the Smiths' Hatful of Hollow in the summer of '85. And I wrote him this letter, and for whatever reason, he wrote me back.
Did he really?
Which is weird. And I've asked him since, like recently, like, why did you do that? Like, and it's pre-internet, so it takes time. You take a pen and paper, and I wasn't like a girl.
Yeah.
It was a 15-year-old boy from Canada.
Good for him.
Yeah, and he's just like, he doesn't know, but he knew there was a connection.
Did he not normally do that then? There was
no, and that's the thing, is he said he probably didn't that much.
Isn't that funny?
I would send him stuff as I started doing other things like writing music. And initially the music I was writing before I met Ed with Bare Naked Ladies, I was writing with another friend, and it was a little bit more indie-ish in that, like, kind of going for Violent Femmes or maybe the Jazz Butcher or something like that, like kind of English indie acoustic stuff. And he really liked a lot of what we were doing then. And then I started writing poetry chapbooks when I was in university, and he was really encouraging of it. And then we just were friends. Like, he invited me to come and hang out with his band while they were rehearsing.
How cool is that?
And it's like, I would never do that, even though I'm not a jerk to fans, but I can't imagine inviting some kid you'd never met to do that. And then eventually we started writing together and became super close. But he was, my hero. I was also a huge Paul Weller fan.
Yeah.
And like I said,
Paul Weller didn't reply to any of your letters. What a git.
I didn't write him.
Oh, okay.
I knew he wouldn't reply.
Yeah.
Although, he was actually a good sport. We once did a festival, and we had Ed and I had bought some figurine of a NASCAR race car driver.
Yeah.
Because it was cheap in an airport, and we thought it was funny, and we were doing the Amelie thing with taking pictures of it, but just really stupid ones. So backstage, we went into Cypress Hill's trailer and asked them would they have their picture taken with, we called them Country Time, because they had a Country Time lemonade jacket on. We didn't know anything about car racing, so we don't know who the guy is. Yeah. Any race car fans will go, oh yeah, Country Time, that's so-and-so, but I don't know. Cypress Hill loved it, so they're all, blowing smoke around it. We take a great picture.
Cypress Hill!
And then we go up to Paul Weller, and he's sitting there and looking spectacular and perfect.
Yeah,
and,
of course.
And we said, would you take a picture with Country Time? And he said, oh, sure. And he looked very intently at it, held his chin, and stared
right to the face of it, took a picture. It was awesome. It was like, I thought he'd say, fuck off. But he didn't. And then we got Noel Gallagher was next over to him. And he said, Ed said, I'm Ed from Bare Naked Ladies, and it's band from Canada. He goes, oh, yeah, the fried chicken band. Chickadee China thing, whatever. I said, can I take a picture of you with Country Time? No, I don't do pictures.
Oy.
Well, Paul Weller just has a picture taken. And he said, no, I don't care. And he said, well, would you consider an oil painting? At which point, Noel Gallagher walked away. So we didn't get that. I thought it was a pretty good try.
We've got James has called in. Let's do James, then we'll do a song from the new album. Then if you want, you can go. If you want, you can start. But I don't want to keep you any longer than we need to. James?
Yes, good evening.
Hello, James. Good evening. James is a very serious voice here, James. Were we in trouble? Have we upset you?
I'm really not serious. Don't worry about that.
Oh, okay, fine. In that case, James, crack on. Away you go.
No, it was basically a call about nothing. I just wanted to call and say hello to Steve and just say you know, I'm 25 years old. You were going with the band before I was born, but I discovered you when I was about 13 years old, and you've become a huge part of my life, both with the band and, you know, your albums. Page One was a fantastic album. Absolutely loved it. The new one is great. And I just wanted to say, you know, one of those cringy fan calls. Thank you very much for everything.
Please don't feel cringy. That means a lot to me. It's really nice to hear. Thank you. And thanks for taking the time. You didn't have to call in, so it's great. Thank
pleasure. You. And, you know, I recently moved away from London, and I'm absolutely gutted that I hear you're going to be sort of in town the weekend, and I know a few people who are looking to go, and I think it's going to be absolutely fantastic. So I hope they have a great time. I know they will, and hopefully you're going to come over here and play some dates soon.
Well, this is the question.
I will, absolutely.
What do we? How can we help? What do we have to do?
Well,
to
and
get
that's
you
what
over
people keep
here?
asking me, and I keep thinking I don't know the answer to that. Like in America, there's this. I don't think they do it as much over here. The house concert phenomenon, is it something?
No, they don't. It's kind of some people do it. Some stand-ups have done it,
Right.
but it's kind of where basically you go to someone's house and you say, right, on Saturday I'm going to be playing at Tracy's house, and she can invite as many people as she wants.
Well, and in America, it's become quite a big thing, especially with kind of singer-songwriters, you know, 1 or 2 piece units. I've done them a couple times, and sometimes they're a little weird because you have to, when you walk in, you have to just resign yourself to the fact that when you're in, you are everyone's property the whole time you're there.
Yeah.
So you got to be on. You can't like find private space or whatever else. But there are some artists like Mike Doty from Soul Coughing, friend of mine, and another singer, Dave Bazan,
who are really, really good. They've got it down to a science. Like they tell you, here's how you set it up. So I'm going to do a house concert tour, and here's how you sell the tickets. And like, so you get one host, and they do it like, let's say it's 40 people, and it's in the front room of someone's house, or it's in their back garden or whatever else. And it's all very well controlled, and here's the times that it happens. And they walk in, they stand on a chair, play, and then they leave. I would probably I'd probably order some pizza at least, but it sounds like it might be fun here. Like if I can't get it going on otherwise, like why not try something like that? But I actually just met my agent for dinner, and he was saying that he'd be happy to book some shows. So I think once we actually have this album release thing figured out, so it's like there's some promo support,
product,
and just somebody behind there kind of talking to the media for me, letting people know, and then I'll come over and do it as soon as I can.
Because I can see, hey, playing it. This is a thrill, private concert for me and Catherine. I'm so honoured and thrilled, and playing in someone's house would be amazing. I can see you playing at somewhere like the Union Chapel though, and drawing a crowd, and that would be a perfect venue.
That's a venue I've had a few people mention. Which would be great.
Have you seen it?
I've never seen anything in there. I've heard stuff reported there, but
stunning. Have you been in the Union
No,
Chapel? It's an old chapel, and it's incredible. And I was lucky enough. I got to see Elton John there bizarrely when I was working at Absolute. We were sponsoring him. I've seen Nesmith there, and it's just the acoustics. And for this kind of, where the lyrics are so important, the acoustics are just incredible for something like that. And it's not, it's was it 400, 500? You could fill that.
That'd be great.
You could fill that easily. James, he's going to play another song for us now, and you can imagine the grin on my face as he's doing this.
Grin on your face on Periscope.
Okay,
don't you worry. And it's the same grin on my face in my living room.
It's good,
so,
isn't it?
It's just awesome.
Well, nice one, James. Thank you, mate. Thank you for calling in. 25. When people say you guys were starting before I was born, that must be an odd feeling, but a good one.
When it first started, it was weird.
Yeah.
Because when you're, for us, we had the biggest peak of our success was kind of 97 to 2002, let's say, in that kind of range. And you feel like you're young. And I think everybody has it in whatever career they're in. They feel like they're still the young guy on staff, the young guy in their department. And all of a sudden there's someone who says, when Nelly Furtado walks up to you and says, we now look at Nelly Furtado and think, oh yeah, that's 10, 15 years ago or whatever. But she says, oh, we listened to your tape on my school band trip to Salmon Arm, BC when I was 12, and thinking, I felt old at that time. But now to have people come up and say, my parents listen to your music all the time, and it's an amazing thing. That stuff gets passed down, or if they just discover you on their own. And I see kids who are, younger than my own kids sometimes who are like really rabid fans, and they've figured it out and they connect with it.
And it's lasted. And you mentioned Nelly Furtado, and you mentioned Cypress Hill, and there are a lot of acts throughout the history of pop. Pop is transient, of course, and disposable, that haven't lasted, that haven't been passed down and stuff. And your music has. That must be a warm feeling.
It is a great feeling.
They survived.
We always got kind of like dismissed. We were never critical darlings. We always kind of thought we probably should be, because we weren't like, we weren't the straight up pop group. And we had been around and playing for so long before we had 1 week as the kind of huge smash hit.
Yeah.
That we were very confident in what we could do, and we had a strong fan base who believed in us. But I think there's the famous quote from David Lee Roth about Elvis Costello, where he said Elvis Costello, the critics all like Elvis Costello because he looks like them. And that was kind of his jealous remark about that. It was almost the other way around with critics. By the time we were around, critics really, in general, wanted to seem cooler. There was that Lester Banks thing, I guess, but it came in the sense that, like, they would come to the show and they would see kind of nerdy, ordinary people
having
really
fun
exactly, truly having fun with
not looking
with
at
the band
your guitars and doing your long
That's
solos.
right.
Yeah,
and the audience were exactly the same.
Yeah,
the audience were people from all walks of life, but very unself-conscious and having fun in a way that was not like it. We would come here a lot, and we were aware of what was expected and what was wanted, and why we weren't ever going to be cool.
Yeah,
and why the enemy at the time would like write horrible things about us, which became humorous to us.
Yeah,
but you still also want people to like what you do, or you want to be in your what you think is your cohort of other artists out there. But so we became the butt of jokes for a long time, or seen as something very transient. It hurts, but the fact that we could still play an arena or a large theater without anybody in the mass media really caring, it made it feel great, because at the end of the day, we got to go out and do that.
For me, I heard the last little the chorus of Brian Wilson on the radio, and it was like, what the... Because I'm a huge Beach Boys fan as well. It was like, what the hell is... And then I heard it again. It was on Capitol. Imagine, them playing on Capitol, Brian Wilson. And it was just so clever and witty, and all the all the references were spot on. And from that moment, it was like... These guys speak in my language. Speaking of
that is great.
Speaking language, here we go.
The ninjas are deadly and silent.
These are my boys.
They're also unspeakably violent. They speak Japanese, they do whatever they please, and sometimes they vacation in Ireland.
It goes on and on and on. That's what you've done. And on my bad days, we have that song and 789 on a loop. Can we have them again, Dad? Oh, they did other songs, guys. Let's let the album play on a little bit, shall we?
So we made the album so we could have the kids' album that the parents may not get totally sick of, because I had young kids. I had young kids, and we're listening to stuff that we hated. Except for maybe They Might Be Giants, they had they had some good ones. We thought let's add to that, but then of course they'll beat you down every time.
Oh, totally, man.
The kids will find a way to annoy you regardless.
Do you want to give us another song? Pick anyone off the new album that you want to do.
Well, we were talking about Surprise, Surprise. So I'm happy to do that.
Yeah,
sure.
Beautiful.
I was thinking about one of the other songs you talked about. Oh, the Brian Wilson. Yeah, that doesn't matter. Who cares about that one?
Who cares about that one? We want to hear the new one.
All right. Surprise. Whoops. It's in this chord. I was going to play Brian Wilson. That was Brian. That was Drove Downtown, which I'm not going to do right now. I'm going to go surprise, surprise. I understand your shock at getting wise. I was feeling shame, you were feeling stupid, 'cause I knew what was wrong with me long before you did. I knew what was wrong with me long before you did. I spent my whole adult life worrying that the world would find me out before too long. I faint, I fail, my vision starts blurring. So just stay strong, or get strong.
Surprise, surprise. Now look into these never-loving eyes. You were feeling safe while I was feeling lonely. I thought that you would know me, but I wish that you would only know just what was wrong with me long before you did. A life on the run from the truth is a gun with its barrel pointed deep down in your throat. And one day you'll say enough of this self-defeating stuff. One false move, and that's all she wrote. And on those mornings when I'm lying in our bed alone and realize I'm old, my mind begins to wish that I was flying. But it's not my mind, it's my soul. Surprise, surprise, I understand you're shocked at getting wise. I was feeling shame, you were feeling stupid, 'cause I knew what was wrong with me long before you did. I knew what was wrong with me long before you did. Long before you did. I knew what was wrong with me long before you did. Long before you did, yeah. Long before you did, long before you did.
Man, thank you. Can we take one more call, then we're going to let you go? Because you're on holiday, man, and I can't believe you've given your time so graciously. Paul is calling from, it says here, North America.
I've heard of it.
That's quite a big place, Paul. Can you just zone in a little bit as to where you might be?
Okay, sure. I am in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, North America.
My hometown, where I'm originally from.
Well, hang on a minute. You've got an English accent. What are you doing over there? You didn't have to go that far just to call him.
I can't tell you. I'm undercover, and it's a need-to-know basis.
Wowzers. Okay.
Wow.
This is a top MI5 agent.
Have you ever heard of Camp X?
No.
That was that's where Ian Fleming trained and stuff. It's just outside. It's actually just near Whitby, where the other guy called from.
My God! It's a conspiracy! We'll get the Flat Earthers calling in again in a minute.
I actually live in Burlington. Do you know Burlington?
I do. Home of the Spoons.
I'm assuming that's a team of some kind, not just Spoons.
No, it was a synth pop band of the 80s.
Was it really?
Yeah.
I don't know them.
They were a Canadian synth pop band.
Can I just say, by the way, guys, I'll come to you in a second, Paul. I've just mentioned Flat Earthers because we've had a lot of people phoning in recently who genuinely believe
it's awesome.
The Earth is flat. Imran's calling in.
Oh, good. I missed it. I was away for it, but I hear it's
love
spectacular.
this stuff. And this is welcome to the world now.
Yeah.
It's just whatever you believe is enough.
We've crossed 11 o'clock and we've entered into the world of the Flat Earthers. Go on, Paul. You can. I'll shut up.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask Stephen something quick, because I work in Toronto, I'm quite often bored on my lunch break, so I wanted to know if you knew of any good used record stores, that's reasonably quick and easy to get to from, let's say, Kingham Bay.
Let me see. I don't live in Toronto anymore, but I am there regularly. My kids still live there and stuff. I wrote the song Brian Wilson about taking my parents' car from the suburbs down to Sam the Record Man, which was at Yonge and Dundas, very close there. It took me years to realize, after coming to London and going to Rough Trade and Tower Records here, or going to New York or whatever, I'd go back to Toronto and realize that was the best record store in the world, and it's gone now.
Yeah.
But there's
I was lucky to get there. I made it there before it closed.
Well, check out there's Soundscapes on they're on College, right? And then that's a great record store. There's a couple right on Queen west, just west of University, right? Is it Cops that's there?
Okay, yeah.
I think I keep disappearing, so I don't know what's still around. But there's a couple in a row there on Queen West of University on the south side. That would be the closest to you.
Paul, does that answer your question, Paul?
It does, but I just have one more thing for him.
Uh-oh. Here we go.
No, it's fine. The first time I saw you guys was at the Rogers Centre in 2006, for the AIDS conference.
Right.
And you really laid into Stephen Harper. Thank you very much.
He was Canada's first taste of divisive bad
He was a
guys.
massive bellend.
Oh,
yeah.
That's what you're looking for.
Yeah.
Paul, how long have you been there for?
8 years.
Well, but you've held on to officially. Oh, I see. You've held on to the British accent very well.
Yes, indeed.
Okay. You really are keeping your cards close to your chest.
Well, I mean, was there a follow-up to that?
He just wants to know what brought you there. What are you really all about?
Well, I mean, like I said, it's neat.
How many people have you killed, Paul?
Well, upwards of 0.
There we go. You would say that, wouldn't he? He would say that. Stephen, we should let you go because you're on your holiday.
All right.
And you've stayed for an hour and a half, and man alive, it's look at my face. At Stephen Page on Twitter.
You got it.
The album you can get on because I do like holding things.
I should have brought you the CD. I meant to, and it's in my other bag. I didn't bring it in this one, and I'll get you one.
Unbelievable, outrageous.
It's the same old excuse every time.
Outrageous. It's Heal Thyself Part 1. Part 2 is it in the can?
It is. I would say about 80% in the can.
Okay.
So there's a little bit more work to be done on it, and then it'll be sitting in the can just waiting.
Heal Thyself Part 1 is you can get it on iTunes and all those things. I'll tweet links and stuff like that, and it's everyone is a pop gem. So nice to see you, man.
Nice to
I hope you and your family enjoy the rest of your trip. Let us know where the park you're going to be hanging out in Saturday. There's some you shouldn't hang out in. I'll let you know which ones later on.
All right.
And we will plug it. And come over again soon, man.
Next time I'm back, I'd love to come back on the show.
Thank you very much.
Talk Radio. Listen. Phone. Talk Radio.
We'll
get you
love
talking.
you so much.
Thank you.
We like
man, thank you so much.
Think about every last
Thank
little
you for
detail.
indulging my,
From a rear parking camera with
ridiculousness
multi-angle view
and,
to versatile seats that triple your
taking
boot
calls
space.
with good
Nothing
sport.
gets missed.
We
even think about your
I
bank
take
balance,
your,
which is
where
why
do
we
you
have a
want to
0%
get your back
finance
to?
offer on our
Don't say it in
Black
here.
Edition
No,
Jazzy
I
S.
need to write it down.
Because we've got people watching.
Down to your local Honda dealer to book a test drive. Selected dealers.
Don't tell them what you're saying.
0% APR represented.
In fact, we're going to say goodbye to our Periscopers. Bye-bye, Periscopers.